Don and Teresa. Anne. It's nice to see you. How are you all? Oh, there's real Mark.
There's real Mark.
Wow, very different. Is everybody well? Yes. Good. Is it time?
It is time.
Okay.
So just to explain, in this age, how things get a little bit challenging, we all opened up, well, I and Emily opened up to an old meeting number. While you were all trying to be in this meeting, I was somewhere else. And so I have 3 computers I have to pump numbers into in order to get this thing right. It's like we're living in we got about 60 feet of computer cables, HDMI cables,
in our living room.
3 computers. I mean,
what is it, Rubes? What's that thing when you have really complicated machines? No, so
Rube
there's a
Goldberg.
word. Yeah, Rube. This is kind of a Rube Goldberg thing. We have 3 computers, 1 screen.
Well, we've got 4 screens running right now.
4, they're all running right now.
So it's because we love you. Anyway, there's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes on to making this thing work. It's interesting how many wires can go wrong. So we're going to do our aspirations and the Shantideva verse for tonight. That will be our beginning prayers. May all beings always have happiness and its causes. May all beings always be free of pain and its causes. May all beings always be pain-free and live happily. May no beings ever cling to those near nor spurn those far. For as long as space abides, as long as the world remains, just so long may I be there, resolving all beings' pain. So we will do a beginning meditation, some relaxation. Given the nature of what's going on nowadays, I think we all can benefit from a little space. So just allow yourself to feel into your source of support. First of all, the contact you have with what you're sitting on. It allows you to come into the present. And for the moment, can you let go of what's come before and what's coming next, and just be here, be with us, be with yourself. And allow yourself to sense the support that your skeletal structure affords you. If you're familiar with central channel, the support your central channel affords you. And there is a source of support. We call it your inner nature, your Buddha nature. It's your ultimate source of support. Sky-like inner spaciousness. It's also a source of ultimate support. And just allow yourself to, for a moment, be with yourself. See what it's like. What do you feel like right now? Is your mind racing or quiet? Either one is fine. Is your body agitated or peaceful? Whatever it is. Are you emotionally feeling something in particular, or are you emotionally neutral? Either one is okay. Can you be okay as you are right now? And we'll start with just sensing our feet and letting there be an opening of energy flow from the bottom of our feet, open to energy coming in or going out, and allowing that openness to energy to extend into our feet and into our ankles, into the calves and shins, both legs, up to our knees. Then into the upper legs. And the buttock area. And our lower stomach. The whole pelvic area is open to energy, as is the middle back and the middle chest area and the upper back and the upper chest. And our hands are open to flow of energy in our wrists and our forearms and our upper arms into our shoulders. And our neck and throat is open, jaw, back of the head, ears, cheeks, eyes, all the way to the top of our scalp, which is open to flow of energy either in or out. Just sense into your scalp and sense what you're feeling in your scalp. Might be warm or cool. Might be energy, might be pressure or lightness. Maybe some flow. Whatever, just sense your scalp and let it begin to loosen and relax. And it can be helpful just to very gently and internally say, my scalp is loose and relaxed. My scalp is loose and relaxed. And whatever sense of relaxation may be occurring, and the scalp can begin to move down your forehead, sides of your head, back of the head. our eyebrows are loose and relaxed, and the upper eyelids and lower eyelids are loose and relaxed. And our cheeks and our ears and the back of our head are loose and relaxed. And the area around our ears and the skull towards the back, the occiput area, and towards the front, our eyes and our cheeks, and our nose area, and even our nasal cavities start to relax. Upper lip, and upper jaw, and lower lip, and lower jaw, and tongue, and the whole region of the mouth is loose and relaxed. The back of the neck and the front of the neck. Sides of the neck, the throat. We allow the whole head and neck and throat to be very relaxed and open and spacious. And just we notice, are we feeling our head, or does it feel like open space? Does it feel like both? Does it oscillate between space and the head? Doesn't matter. Just notice what it's like in your experience. Our shoulders are loose and relaxed. Down to the upper back is loose and relaxed. And the front of our chest area, including the central area, which is the area of our emotional heart, is loose and relaxed. And again, our upper back and our upper chest and our emotional heart area is open and spacious. And do we have a sense of our body, space, spaciousness, both simultaneously? Do they alternate? What is the nature of your experience? And our upper arms are loose and relaxed, as are our elbows and our forearms. And our hands are loose and relaxed. And it can be particularly relaxing to imagine our hands in warm water or warm sand. My hands are loose, warm, and relaxed. My hands are loose, warm, and relaxed. We're just allowing ourselves to settle in and be with a sense of relaxation. Our head is relaxed and spacious. Our throat and neck is relaxed and spacious. Our shoulder area is relaxed and spacious. Our arms, forearms, and hands are relaxed and spacious. And our heart, our emotional heart, is open and relaxed. And just sense again, what is it like to be relaxed and open and spacious? Is it okay to be relaxed and open and spacious? Is there any obstruction or resistance? And within an attitude of openness and relaxation, is there someone dear to you that you can imagine in front of you and just wish that person well? And allow a natural tenderness that seems to be almost part and parcel of your perhaps relaxed state, your open, spacious state. Just tender spaciousness towards this person you care for. It's almost as if you don't need to do anything. It's just naturally responsive to this person. Natural responsiveness to this person. How does it affect you to just feel naturally responsive to someone you care for? And just pay some attention to your sense of personal boundary. Is it very, very tight? Is it somewhat open? Is it non existent? Is it permeable or sense between yourself and someone you care for? Is that open, natural? What's it like to just appreciate Tenderness being present. Tenderness for yourself, tenderness for someone dear to you, tenderness as an expression of an innermost inclination. Just allow yourself to sense some tenderness. And is it okay to swim in some tenderness? Just being tender. And what if you, for the moment, even let go of a specific person or two that you may be feeling tender towards, and just allow tenderness to go everywhere? Can there be tenderness going everywhere? With no particular object, just an all-pervasive tenderness. And just take about a minute or so to just absorb and be with your experience and how this is affecting you. And after about a minute, we'll return to this space. Just wonder how that was for individuals, and if you have anything to say, report, question, comment, anything at all is welcome. We're so happy to see you all. If you're going to talk, you need to unmute yourself. Nancy.
I really appreciated the focus on tenderness. I've been doing counseling with people online and using Zoom, and it's not a medium that tenderness is easy to transmit or receive through. And having you model how to do it was good for some of the shock that I've been in with how much my relationship with people is through a screen. And I really am softening around that, and thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate that. And I think that, I think twice already today, I've been on so much screen, people were saying, God, we're just living with these screens now. And, our ecology has been changing in so many ways with this COVID crisis. And one of those ways, especially for those of us who are sheltering in place, is like our social life is now either phone some people, it's meeting people outside and screaming at 6 feet apart, but most of it is as with the screen. And yes, it takes some getting used to. So I appreciate your acknowledging that, and happy anniversary to Anne and Janine, by the way.
Yay.
Up there, and whatever corner of your screens they happen to be in, but happy second anniversary. Lovely. Third anniversary.
4? No.
4?
Oh my goodness. It seems like yesterday.
Wow.
Wow.
Yikes.
Mm.
So anybody else have something to say? Share how that was for you, and problem or ease or experience?
While you're thinking, I'll say hi, Quan. We haven't seen you in a while. It's nice to see you.
You want to just wave, Teresa, or you want to say something? Don't want to say something. Anybody?
I guess for me, it was very interesting because I had a glass of wine maybe like 30 minutes ago, and I don't usually drink, but my dad just gave me a glass of wine, and I felt the whole time my whole heart was pounding in my head and in my body, and it was really strange and uncomfortable. And I think it was because of the wine, because usually that doesn't happen.
Interesting.
Really interesting.
Yeah, so somehow physiologically you were more aware of the effect of the wine on you.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you at home? Are you in El Paso?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm. Everybody's everywhere.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing that.
Tuning in. Yeah.
Yeah, and being with us in El Paso. Yeah, great.
I think Janine was going to say something. Are you?
No?
No. Okay. It's hard to tell. Are you just...
Anyone else have anything to say? Janina, you trying to say something?
No, she fooled me too. Oh, you are now?
I will.
Good.
I wasn't, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. A little
Okay.
soft. Yeah.
No, I wasn't going to say something, but then but Anne, you thought I was going to say something, so.
Your body knew before you did that you were going to say something.
This is such a, I feel this practice is such a comfort right now. I just felt tonight felt very, like a holding. The tenderness was very real for me. Very, it felt very embodied for me this time. I mean, it's our anniversary, so I thought, I really I want that that first person for me today was Anne, and that person is Nora. I mean, really, this is the closest one, but today especially, and I was just thinking about the tenderness felt like, her hair, feeling her hair against my hair, and then in that moment when you said, okay, now that tenderness goes out beyond, and it was like the grass on my hair, and then just thinking about the materiality of the universe, and just feeling the smallness, and yet the significance of all of us in our particularity, but also just in our smallness is a part of this whole tenderness was really beautiful tonight. So I really appreciate that. And thinking about how that can be accessed through those closest to us, that love is taught through that closeness.
Well, it's very, very lovely what you're saying.
Yeah.
What you're saying, about particularity and tenderness. And, many of us, when we do meditation, in a way, wish to get away from particularities. And I think that that's a way to proceed. And a way to proceed is also to just dive into every little particularity and every little atom of experience. And it's lovely to hear you articulate that. Yeah.
So tenderly.
Very sweet.
Yeah.
We have a question from YouTube.
You have a
Okay.
question from YouTube.
That's amazing. That rarely happens.
So this person asked, I notice barriers arising in myself when I try to embrace tenderness. Do you have any advice around this?
Yeah, so the first piece of advice is thank you so much for being honest with your own experience. And, I think the first real thing for any of us with any practice is it's really fire, ready, aim. And that is to say, we do something, we make some aspiration, and we then see what's occurring. And the most critical, in a way, first step is, can we be accepting of our own experience? Because most of us in our culture have a kind of default of really rejecting our experience a lot. And it can occur in a lot of different settings. It can occur in a lot of different ways. And so one way is that, even if we're doing some kind of meditation experience and, we notice I'm not feeling tender. In fact, I'm kind of a grumpy, either today I'm grumpy or I think I'm grumpy most of the time, whatever. The first thing is, can we just allow what our sense of most importantly, is our immediate experience. And, I think that what I started with, which was a general, and I don't know if the person was on for that part or not, was a general relaxation. And I'm doing that in general when we're doing open Tuesdays and open Fridays. I'm doing a very gentle relaxation. And I don't know if the person practiced that or not, and if they can type in, if they did, how that affected them. It would be helpful. But a first step might be to see if it's possible to just do some very, very simple relaxation, and to see how that affects oneself. And if there are any messages that come up, to contemplate what might those messages be related to. Some of us learned early in life that we needed to be on the lookout. We needed to be alert. We needed to be vigilant. Maybe things were dangerous. And it may be very important to appreciate that that's part of our makeup at this time. Doesn't mean we always have to be that way, but it may be a first step to acknowledge that these are some skills that I came by in order to protect myself. So, it's a kind of a big topic in a way. But I would start with that and just see if some form of relaxation is possible. I don't know if anything came through with request to, is there any information about, did they do the relaxation?
No.
Okay. So that does bring me to what I wanted to read, and then I think I'll read what I want to read. Maybe some reactions, and then we can have some open conversation, just how people are doing. This is again Pema Chodron on Donglen. Good book, recommended.
Tonglen.
Donglen. What did I say?
It's a Tibetan word.
Hmm?
Tonglen.
Donglen. Then what?
You don't let me say any Tibetan words without
This is the name of
explaining.
the book.
Giving and
Sending and
taking.
taking. Sending and taking. Little bit of at home with Harvey and Ann. Even if you're not on a cushion or in the meditation hall, you can experiment with the practice of mindfulness and awareness. You can use it as a tool to get in touch with what you are feeling in the present moment. For example, sometimes when I'm alone or find myself in a quiet setting, taking a walk in the woods, gazing out my cabin window, or sitting on a bench by the ocean, I let go of my thoughts and try to see what lies underneath them. So just reading, skipping a paragraph, and I have a moth that's in love with me here. She says, for example, perhaps the feeling underneath your thoughts is self-hatred. Consequently, when thoughts begin to bubble up, they sound like bad, bad, good, good, should, shouldn't. When you become aware of such thoughts, you just let them go and come back to the immediacy of your experience. This in itself is a practice of Maitri, which is love, or making friends with yourself. So part of what she's alluding to is that our minds tend to be very, very active, very, very thoughtful, and very, very judgmental. And I'm about to have a moth fly into my mouth as I'm
No,
talking.
she's really.
She's in love with me.
Shall I kick her? No.
You
Okay.
can catch her. You could take it
She's
out.
on me. Yeah.
And part of what happens with thoughts is that they're kind of invariant expectation. They're a kind of an expectational bias. They're generalities. And one of the things that we do when we're practicing mindfulness or a body scan or a relaxation is we're attempting to get out of the tyranny of our thoughts and into the immediacy of our experience. And this is something that I repeat pretty often, but I think it's actually a very, very critical lesson, that our minds are kind of the outer layer of our processing, and they're very, very general, and they're very, very not attuned to the specifics of reality and experience. And mostly we go through life not being involved with the specifics of experience. And it's very, very useful. We couldn't go into the grocery store and get involved with every particular loaf of bread. We would never finish shopping. But at the same time, when we're cultivating spirituality, when we're thinking about spiritual development, part of what we're doing is actually opening up the specificity of our experience very, very carefully. And so one way we do that is to go into the physical nature of our experience and drop away from some of the cognitive content that we tend to get lost in. One of the things that is inevitably occurring nowadays in the COVID crisis is because things are so different, is we're running out of invariant expectations. We're running out of expectational bias. So willy-nilly, there's a kind of freshness to our experience. One way that people respond to new experiences is with an enormous amount of anxiety. She did fly into my mouth. She flew away again. But another way to
Strange.
deal with fresh experience is to just allow it and see what it is. And so even when we have some sense I'm not feeling tender, that's reality. It might be very, very useful to feel, what does this feel like in my body? What does this feel like in different parts of my body? That can be very, very helpful. And just to be aware in an even and accepting way. And as Pema Chodron says, that's a beginning of Maitri, or love for oneself. But having said all that, which was a lot, I do want to just sort of, either in reaction to what I just said or just to hear how people are doing, I'd love to just hear from people and what's going on wherever you are, whatever parts of the country you're calling from, you're zooming in from. That can be on YouTube and or by raising your hand on the computer. Anything whatsoever. Yes,
All right,
Chindati.
I'm feeling like crawling up the walls and screaming right now. So the meditation is always good, that kind of going into the body and just getting away from the mind. Because usually I don't really do much news or get involved with what I call like the collective unconscious, but recently I'm just like always doing it. And so I've been listening to Noam Chomsky, and it sounds like, it's kind of real. I mean, I really respect him. So it's also some kind of a reality there. So it looks like it's good versus evil now, like in a Stephen King novel. And I think Stephen King also apologized that everyone is in one of his novels right now.
Interesting line. Yeah, so it's an interesting issue you bring up. Just how much do we expose ourselves to the media, which, part of what their assignment is to get people excited so that people participate, and they're doing a good job. And I think it's really worth contemplating how much we expose ourselves to. I mean, I don't think we should put our heads in the sand, but there's definitely a vibration that they're kind of fostering that we want to contemplate if we want to, hop on that boat. So I think it's good that you bring that up, whoever it may be. I mean, it's I think it's a good thing to think about. Who do I expose myself to in terms of describing what's going on in this situation, and how are they affecting me?
It's really kind of an extension of the practice we were just doing and speaking about, which is just noticing how we're impacted. Tiffany started with noticing how the wine impacted her, and the person from YouTube noticed that even though there was an invitation, not really even though, but when there was an invitation to be tender, a barrier was noticed. And these can be very important discoveries. So similarly, we're listening to media, and how is this impacting me? Do I really want this? The more we notice what is going on, our possibilities of choices open. We don't have to watch. Sometimes it feels like we do because we have a habit, always watch the news, but we don't have to. Can rethink, do something different.
Right. I guess I kind of feel really trapped because now they also closed the beaches here in Santa Cruz, and it's like a curfew. And I heard they raided like my housemate's boss's house, and we don't really, it's kind of weird. and also I feel like I'm living with a bunch of people I really don't have much or anything in common with, and I wish I would be like this right now in a situation with more like-minded people, where it's easier, to let go of all that kind of conventional craziness out there, because that's not really how we create our reality. And but I feel like I'm not in touch with that calmness to just be right now.
Well,
No,
so
that's
I
also-
appreciate that you sign in and maybe at least get a few moments of respite. I really
Yeah,
appreciate your being
thank
with us.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay.
Anyone else care to share how things are going for them, wherever they are?
Selwa is there. I want to
Selwa.
say hi to Stacy and Annabella, who I saw a moment ago. We haven't
Yeah.
seen you in a while. Hi. Selwa, as we call
Selwa.
you.
You need
Okay,
to unmute yourself,
unmute.
Selwa.
You're still, we can't hear you. So can you unmute yourself? Yeah.
First of all, I want to tell you that I miss you both.
Huh?
I want to tell you that I miss my Sangha and I miss you guys.
Thank you.
We miss
We're
you.
happy to hear that. We miss you too.
And I arrived late to the meditation, but I think tenderness is something that I needed today and all these days, since I'm facing a different set of routines. And it really helped me to understand that I should be more, maybe I translated tenderness with patience in the way that I've been dealing with this new situation. And I was thinking, after you read that art part of those paragraphs for those from the book that you are reading, Harvey.
Yes.
It's interesting how my mind has been thinking about I have to, I should, I will, but that reminds me that I need more meditation and some time to just disconnect for a moment and think clearly.
Yeah.
Sounds like a wonderful aspiration. It sounds like you mean it too.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's hard to sometimes get to. And so it's good that we can collectively go there and come together. You're online.
Yeah, missed you.
Paul, you had your hand up. You need
But
to
you're
unmute,
muted.
Paul.
You're still muted.
Unmute yourself,
We
Paul.
can't hear you. You're muted. You need to
Okay.
unmute. No, okay.
I went and walked around in an old cemetery right near my house, and it was amazing how people died like flies in the old days. I mean, this is nothing compared to that. Like, there was one woman who had 7 children who all died, and then she died at 34.
Wow.
I mean, if you look at how many kids were dead, the lifespan was probably around 35 on the average.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's been great improvement, and this particular situation is obviously also a great challenge. But yeah, back in the day, it was terrible. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Anyone else?
Stacy.
Stacy?
Hi.
Hi.
I also missed you all. And it's great I got here a little bit late. But I just wanted to say a few things. One is that at the beginning of this quarantine, because I'm a performer, I'm a musician, and so all my work dried up just immediately at the very beginning. And I went from being in a place where I was not sure how I was going to make it through the month because it was so busy and I was so stressed, to a place where all of a sudden I had nothing. And it was such a wake-up call. It was really, in a good way, I think. Like, there was all of a sudden so much spaciousness, and I realized how much of a kind of house of cards I'm building for myself with, what I really need to do and what is really important to do. So it's helping me reevaluate now, and also just really cherish this breathing room and time and clean air, you know, with no traffic. And it's a strange combination of having this space here and really kind of waking up. I felt like especially the first few days, I went really deep into meditation in a way that I hadn't done before, except when something really big happened, like a close person died or something like that. It felt like that, like my universe had changed. But and now it's become, you know, the outside world is starting to kind of, you know, press in on me a little bit more. But it feels like it's a time to just take some deep breaths and feel what's important, and, you know, be with Annabelle, my daughter, and breathe the clean air and let the planet breathe a little bit and see that part of it as well. I'm definitely kind of keeping my head in the sand a bit as far as the media goes, but yeah, that's my experience so far.
Go check on the birds. There's some strange chirping going on.
Oh, that's mine. Actually, that's why I was late, because we just adopted some little chicks. So they're
Those are yours?
We thought they were ours.
I thought those were our birds. I mean, those chicks, when you say are chickens or?
Like
little chicks, baby chicks. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was our birds, and I was thinking they don't usually
Something's
sound
wrong.
that way. I think there may be some danger. Thank you for clarifying that. I think what you're saying is, you know, one of the things that, in terms of expectational bias and kind of let's just stay with that. Invariant representation is kind of the paraphrase of that as well.
Yeah.
You know, this is clearly a tragedy, and it is a tragedy, but I think it's also important to be, again, going back to what Janine was talking about earlier, look at particulars, and you're really saying it. I mean, it's terrible for us not to be able to work and not to be able to help people or not to be able to participate in our careers. And the air is cleaner, and some of us are taking some breaths, and maybe we're home with our children in ways that we weren't with our children and before. I mean, so it's just complicated. And when we lose people, that is a tragedy, and it's sad. And yet, you know, we can see the sky in some areas of the country where we never were seeing the sky for a long time. And so I think we need to not try to generalize, but really to just appreciate the complexity of all the challenges. And there are some strange rewards in this situation. So thank you for bringing that forward. Yeah. One more person.
I also feel like now, like you said, it's just so many things are changing and so quickly, but it's definitely a time to be thankful. At least for me, I've found a lot of silver linings in this because I'm lucky enough to not have to worry about my health at this moment and the health of my family at this moment. So I've gotten the chance to spend a lot of time with my family and do a lot of healing myself and meditate a lot more. And I think this is an opportunity, I guess, that I've seen more than anything, that if I was at school, I would definitely not be doing all of this inner contemplation and spending so much time outside in my backyard, not, you know, talking to people, but a lot of time alone. And
it's lovely to hear, and it's lovely that, you know, to hear that you can take advantage of some of this opportunity. And
it's important.
Yeah, it's very, very important. So we're kind of coming to the end of our hour. We've got names, and the way we've organized things, I can sit here and
oh wow, that's a real step up.
read the names. We will dedicate our merit, and then we will do the blessing, and then I'll read the names. By this good may I swiftly once become a great guru, lead all beings, everyone, to reach to that very ground.
With all of you in mind, we light this lamp of clarity. May the glow of love, wisdom shine within us, everyone,
till we all
rise forth born in one enlightened mandala.
And so, of course, we are holding all beings throughout space, and in particular, all human beings on this planet now. And we're dedicating the merit of our meeting to all of them. And the following names are for the book: Jacqueline Delano, the Pine family, Sandra and Arthur, Cleary family, John Splain, Sylvia, Rolando, Nathaniel, Leah, Emma, Ed, Gary, Jerry, and family, Johanna, Elena, Mrs. Ann Glegg, Debbie, Mandy, health and service workers, Bob, Shona, and baby, Janet Palinka, Joe Edelberg, Sasha Greenwald, Hogan Edelberg, Proga, Gay Padilla, Eddie, Ernie, Camachos, Monica, and Sangha. Greetings, dear Sangha. Our lamas are in all Sanghas, our skylit home, all suffering children, COVID, Santim, Kuru, Ye, Soha, Joanne, say the next name, dear. Organ, Mark, health workers.
Pine. Rebecca Pine.
What is this? Sharon?
Yes.
Sharon and Rebecca Pine.
Max and Michelle.
Max Panzer and Michelle Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll chant an ah, wishing all well.
May all be well with you all and everyone you love and everyone everywhere. Tomorrow morning at 10:30, we have green tar practice, and we're doing it with soak. So if you prepare a little food, clean, fresh food, then we will have that kind of soak together, also transmission. See you then. Also, we'll be back on Tuesday at 7, right?
We'll have our Sunday morning
Sunday morning
meditation
at 11. Paolo is leading. And Tuesday online.
We'll do this
We'll be
as
here
well as
again.
the Friday.
Yeah.
So most of all, we wish you all to stay well, and all those you know and love, may you all be healthy.
Take good care.
Take good care, everyone.
Glad you're here. You people online, YouTube that we can't see, we wish you well. Bye. Thank you.